Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about some hidden Shadow Word Death tech that me and one of the priests in my guild recently found that I think is actually super smart. So first off, I want to say uh, this is going to be a very min-maxy, super high-end thing. If you're a Shadow Priest who's just learning, or you're maybe in a heroic guild or something, and you're doing like 5k DPS single target when other Shadow Priests are doing 8k, 9k single target on that same fight, changing what I'm about to tell you is not going to fix that problem, right? So this will add maybe, if you're really lucky, maybe like 100 DPS throughout a really long fight. So this is a really small optimization. And like I said, if you're still learning, then it's a good thing to add to your repertoire, but it isn't going to solve all your problems. You're better off, trying to learn how to line up your cooldowns correctly, make sure you're hitting the right stuff at the right time, make sure you're casting as much as possible and moving between casts kind of thing. But you can start doing this. It's just not going to, like I said, it's not going to fix all your problems. And for those of you who feel like you have everything down really solid, then this is a nice little change that I've been incorporating in my play. We found this about a week ago, so I've been doing this for about a week now. But it feels nice. I really like it, and it's a nice change of pace. So let me stop talking. Well, let me stop ranting and tell you what it is. Right. So here's what it is. If you look, this is the cast timeline for this Chinese player on Sylvanas Windrunner Mythic. They just barely got into Void form right here. And then what they're going to do is cast Void Bolt, Devouring Plague, Mind Blast. That's all standard. You would expect that every time. Then they cast another Void Bolt. And then they cast this Shadow Word Death. So this is, when I first saw this, I thought, oh, this is probably just they're moving, and so it's a Shadow Word Death that they throw in on the move. Because for anyone who doesn't know, whenever you're moving a long distance and you want to be casting stuff during that time, Shadow Word Death is the best button to press. You should press Shadow Word Death and then fill with Shadow Word Pains as you keep running. Although you probably don't have to cast too many because you could run pretty far in two globals, right? But you should always press Shadow Word Death as your first movement spell because it does a pretty good amount of damage, and it's more than the initial application of a Shadow Word Pain, which is all the damage that you get if you're spamming Shadow Word Pain. So I thought, oh, this guy is he's just running, across between mechanics or something, and needs to cast something, so he put a Shadow Word Death here. And I would have left it at that, but if we go earlier in the fight, so this is at almost 400 seconds exactly. If we go back to 300 seconds, sorry if this is hard to watch. Oh, we went too far. We're at 250, 260. Okay, we got to slow down here. And here we are. So this is one of his other Void forms. And you'll notice he goes into Void form, Void Bolt, Devouring Plague, Mind Blast, Void Bolt, Devouring Plague, then a Void Torrent. This Void Torrent is something that he's also doing in multiple Void forms, and I'm not entirely convinced that this is the right move, although this is something that I'll probably explore more and make another video about. But you'll see another Shadow Word Death right here during this Void form, right? So this is at least two of his Void forms. He puts a Shadow Word Death in there. And then if we go even further, so remember 400 was the one we already looked at. And then let's see, can we get to the next one, which is right here. In this one, this would be during phase 2 on the first chain. You'll see that he doesn't cast one during this one up until, sorry, yeah, so he doesn't cast one at all during that Void form. So I was like, okay, well maybe it is just a movement thing, and he just did it twice, right? Because you do have to move a lot on Mythic Sylvanas. But if we scroll further to this one, this is one of the ones, this is 658 seconds in, so this is phase 3. This is on one of the platforms, almost 11 minutes. This is their next Void form. They go into Void form, they cast a lot of the regular stuff. They do the same Void Torrent thing between Void Bolts, which again, I'll make a video about that separately. But then they cast another Shadow Word Death right here. So, basically, we thought about this a lot. Me and his name's Bunny, the other Shadow Priest in my guild. Or one of the other Shadow Priests in my guild. We were thinking about this and we were like, why is he doing this? And we came to a conclusion. So, let me show you the rotation, the single target rotation, if you don't use the Shadow Word Death tech, just real quick. So this is just going to be, you know, straight up single target rotation. So I Fleshcraft, Vampiric Touch, Shadow Word Pain, instantly channel a Void Torrent. Make sure you full channel it, and then you Devouring Plague, Mind Blast, Shadow Fiend, get into Void form, pop PI Ruby and Potion, and then as things happen, right, there's going to come a time where I don't have enough Insanity for a Devouring Plague, and both charges of Mind... It's right there. So both charges of Mind Blast are on cooldown, and I need to fill with a Mind Flay, right? So if you've been playing Shadow for a while, this should look really familiar to you, because this is what you should be doing, right? Although, it's maybe not what you should actually be doing, and I'll show you that. First, let's look at the damage real quick. If I scroll down, I can find Mind Flay. You'll see that Mind Flay on average does 1,194 per tick, right? And the way it works out, you get at most 2 ticks of Mind Flay in a global, right? So Mind Flay will tick 6 times if you full channel it, and if you start the cast right at the end of a global and then you wait a full global, you'll get 2 ticks. And it depends on how much haste you have. If you have a ton of haste, then maybe you'll get more, but 2 ticks is about where we should be looking. So you can multiply this by 2, you get 2,388 damage, right? On average. So obviously you can crit, you can low roll, do less damage, that kind of thing. But that's how much damage that Mind Flay is doing in those moments where you can't be casting Mind Blast, you can't cast a Devouring Plague, and you can't cast a Void Bolt. Now, if we exit out of this, I'll pull up the rotation with the Shadow Word Death tech, and I've already cast Fleshcraft right here. I started recording this a little bit late, but let's watch. So I'm going to do everything the same: Vampiric Touch, Shadow Word Pain, full channel of Void Torrent, Devouring Plague, Mind Blast, Shadow Fiend, get into Void form, pop all my coolies, and then as soon as I get to that same point that I was at before, which is coming up, I get a lucky Mind Devourer proc right there. Right here, I should be casting a Mind Blast and then a Shadow Word Death. So instead of, you'll see I haven't cast any Mind Flays yet. I guess I cast 1 after my Shadow Word Death was already on cooldown. So I'm replacing one of the Mind Flays at least with a Shadow Word Death, and I'll show you the damage. So this is Shadow Word Pain, actually. This is Shadow Word Death. So I cast it 1 time, and it did 4,330 damage. It didn't crit, and this will alternate a little bit with spell variants. So it'll do, you know, between 4,150 maybe, up to, you know, 4,400 or something. Maybe this was even like a high roll. But yeah, this did 4,330 damage, and it filled the same slot that one of those Mind Flays did in the other rotation. So this is doing almost exactly 2,000 more damage over the same amount of time, right? And that doesn't seem like a lot, because it's not a lot, but it is noticeable, especially if you get onto a fight like Mythic Sylvanas Windrunner, where it's, you know, 14 minutes long, 14 minutes 20 seconds, right? You should get like let's see, 6, maybe 7 Void forms over the course of this fight. And if you get 2,000 damage extra for every Shadow Word Death during Void form, and you replace a Mind Flay, right? So let's say if you were Mind Flaying, you would do 2,000 damage. If you Shadow Word Death, you do 4,000. Then 4,000 minus 2,000 gives you the 2,000 difference. And then if you multiply that 2,000 by however many Void forms you get over the fight, which should be almost 7, just about 7, then you do almost 14,000 more damage over the course of the fight than you would have done had you just filled them with Mind Flays, right? So again, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but this is like a really small, very small change that you shouldn't really worry about unless you're, pushing really high. You feel like you've got everything down on Shadow Priest. You're like a cutting edge raider already, and you are just looking for the little itty bitty things that you can change to maximize your damage just a little bit more. Again, for the majority of people, you can do this and you should do this. I think I'm an advocate for this. It's just that if you're, like I said, a heroic raider or somebody who's new to Shadow Priest or something, no flame. Everybody has to start somewhere, right? And for some people, they don't want to take it as serious, so no big deal. But if you're looking for something to save your DPS, you're doing like a couple thousand DPS less than other people at similar item levels on similar fights, this isn't going to be the difference. In fact, very, very few people in the entire world do this, so you shouldn't have to worry about this at all. You should, like I said, you should worry more about cooldown timings, make sure you're pressing all the buttons when you should be, make sure you have uptime of your dots, make sure you're not moving too much, you're casting as much as possible, that kind of thing. And I do have other videos where I talk about that kind of thing if you're interested in it. But yeah, so TLDR, when you're in Void form, you can replace at least one Mind Flay with a Shadow Word Death, and you'll do more damage. So let me know what you guys think of this hidden Chinese tech, this hidden Chinese Shadow Word Death tech. I was super stoked when we found this. Me and Bunny are both trying to incorporate this into our play, and it feels pretty good, actually. I much prefer hitting a Shadow Word Death than channeling a Mind Flay. Channeling Mind Flay just feels really, really bad. I guess, okay, let me mention one or two more things before we wrap this up. Mind Flay, the reason that you might want to channel Mind Flay instead of this is that it can proc your Dissonant Echoes and your Dark Thoughts. So if you don't channel Mind Flay at all, you will never proc Dissonant Echoes, and you'll never proc Dark Thoughts. However, the odds that you're going to proc a Dark Thoughts and a Dissonant Echoes are very, very small, right? It's not super often. Whereas this is just always going to do more damage than 2 ticks of your Mind Flay. Even 3 ticks of your Mind Flay aren't going to make up the damage that this will do. So I am aware of those things. And if you guys want to talk more about this kind of stuff, feel free to join my Discord. There should be a link in the description below. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Feel free to leave a comment. If you liked the video, make sure you click the like button. And if you really liked it, feel free to subscribe. Like I said, join us in Discord. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace!